Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Robinson. Welcome back. This is day 3. So what's really important about this unit in particular is there's a lot of verbiage. So it's really important to get your notes down, make sure that you understand all the different things that they're talking about, and again, take really good notes. So the review, what is the end behavior for the function? So I found this nifty image that was just talking about what end behavior is, okay? So let's remind ourselves what we learned in the first 2 units. So first we need to find the leading coefficient, which is attached to the highest degree. The highest degree is very important. It tells us what this thing is going to look like. How many times is it going to turn? How many times is it going to cross the x-axis and give us x-intercept? So that is a key feature. So x to the 4th times negative 9x to the 5th is negative 9x to the 9th, okay? So that is our highest degree. So then I use this handy-dandy image I found, and I connect it. So the leading coefficient is negative, okay? And the degree is odd. So here we go. So then I go to my chart. So if the degree is even, they're both going up or they're both going down. And if the degree is odd, one is going down and one is going up. So rises to the left and falls to the right. So what does that mean? As x reaches negative infinity, the y is reaching infinity. So that's going to be D on our choices because the second part says y is, as x is approaching infinity, y is approaching negative infinity. Again, it's swip-swapped, but we're going to be fine. So that is D. Awesome. Now let's get into reviewing polynomials. Now the big thing about 1 and 2 is we want to make sure that we don't just distribute just for fun, okay? So for number 1, if you notice, there's a plus sign in between. So what that means is I'm just going to combine like terms like so and get to work, okay? So I'm going to combine like terms. Negative 2x squared, negative 5x squared is negative 7x squared, and keep the train a-moving. And then I have plus 4x. And then I'm going to combine the last 2. So negative 6 and positive 3 is negative 3. And there's my polynomial. All right, number 2. Now we need to really look at where is that negative. The negative is in front of the second polynomial. So I only need to distribute it to the second one, okay? So we don't want to just go crazy and distribute everything. We really need to see what the problem is talking about, okay? And then the first polynomial, I'm just going to drop down. There's nothing in front of the parentheses, so I don't need to distribute anything. Now that everything's distributed and I changed the signs, I'm going to combine. So 7x to the 3rd minus 6x to the 3rd, I've got x to the 3rd. Now you can cross them out. That's kind of a good strategy, so then I know I don't miss anything. These are ones that you can definitely make a little mistake by not combining or forgetting something. All right, here we go. Next one, we've got negative 4x and positive 7x, which is 3x. And then the last one, we've got 7 and negative 5, which is positive 2. And there we go. So now we reviewed simplifying by either adding or subtracting. Now let's remind ourselves about multiplying. Now this is going to be very helpful when we are looking at graphing and looking at x-intercepts and all that magic. So the first one, 3x squared minus x plus 4 times x plus 2 times x plus 2. So we're going to actually be dividing this unit, so we need to remind ourselves how to multiply. So then I have 3x squared minus x and 4, and now I'm going to multiply. So I do the box method. Again, you do the method that makes sense for you, but this just helps me organize everything. So then I, again, don't miss any steps because it's very easy to miss a step. So this just helps me organize what am I multiplying together, and then I can combine like terms, okay? So then I have 6x squared minus x squared. I'm going to combine those. I'm going to combine the 4x and the negative 2x and be on my way. So then I have 3x to the 3rd plus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. And there we go for that one. All right, now we have the next 2. All right, so number 4. So now we have 3 binomials, all right? So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to FOIL the first 2. So that's going to give me x squared minus 3x plus 7x minus 21. I'm going to combine like terms for the middle, so then it's a little bit easier. There we go, minus 21. And then I will times it to the second one. Again, it's your you can do the box or you can extra FOIL. So if I wanted to FOIL, it's like double time FOIL because I've got 3 terms now. So I have x to the third. Remember, add those exponents plus x squared. And then my second one I'm going to change the color to help me out. 4x squared. Nope. Yes, 4x squared plus 4x. And then the last term, I've got negative 21x minus 21. All right. So from here, again, color really helps us distinguish things. So then we, again, don't miss a step, don't miss a part, and it just can help us organize what we're doing here. And then we have negative 17x minus 21. All right, so final answer, here we go. All right, number 5 should look very familiar. This is a special case trinomial. If you, special case binomial. Okay, so what happens for this one, I get x squared plus 2x minus 4. So what happens to the middle? Goodbye. So then I have x squared minus 4. Okay, so we have the difference of squares. So that's a review of that concept. All right, moving right along. So numbers 6, 7, and 8. What's really important about these 3 is that we don't want to just distribute the 2. That's a no-no. 2y plus 4 is very different than y plus 4 squared. Y plus 4 squared means that I have actually 2 of these factors that I need to multiply together. Okay, so that's very different than just distributing. So please don't make that mistake. Okay, so I'm going to distribute and FOIL. So I have y squared plus 8y plus 16. All right, so that's a quick one for number 6. Number 7, again, please write it out. It's going to be very helpful for you to write out the concept so then we know what we're doing. All right, so I set up number 7 and number 8. So if you want to do the same, again, 3p squared minus 2 squared means, again, that I have 2 of these terms. Okay, two of these binomials, very, very official. And then number 8, it means I have 3 of these. Okay, so I write them out so then I actually know what I'm doing. Okay, so FOIL these out, combine like terms, and I will see you back here with the answers. Please try these. All right, Rockstar, so these should be your answers. 9p to the 4th minus 12p squared plus 4, and then x to the 3rd plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 1. So those should be your answers for number 7 and number 8. Please show your work, show the steps, ask questions if you need to. All right, moving right along. Now we're going to factor by grouping. Okay, so let's move this guy over. All right, number 9. So factor by grouping. How do we know that we're grouping? Well, there's 4 terms, okay? So when we have 4 terms, we want to kind of make pairs and see what we can do from there. So x to the 3rd minus 2x squared. Here we go. Let's put those together. So what is the greatest common factor? X squared. So then we have x minus 2 left over. For the second one, negative 9x plus 18. So I have negative 9 times x minus 2. Okay, so if I take out the negative 9, then these 2 binomials are the same. That's what we want. And then if you notice, the outside I'm going to put together. So then I have x squared minus 9. And then my second term is x minus 2. So there should be a little alarm going off in your head and going, I think I can do more. X squared minus 9. What does that mean? Well, that is a difference of squares. X squared becomes x. And then what's the square root of 9? 3. Now, in order, because it's subtraction, that means 1 is, 1 is plus and 1 is minus. And then bring down the x minus 2. And there we go. We have 3 terms. And we are rocking. All right, so I want you to try number 10. Same song and dance. And you are going to have 3 to end up with. So then you know that you're on the right track if you have 3 of these left over, 3 factors. All right, so try these out and come back and check. All right, your final answer should be x plus 5 times x minus 5 times x plus 2. Again, if your order is different, that is okay. So if you have a different order, we are all fine. Just make sure you have a plus and a minus 5 and then the positive 2. Moving right along, factor the following polynomials in quadratic form. Okay, so this one's a little tricky, okay? So as you notice, there's a lot of y's happening for number 11. Okay, we've got a lot of y's. So the first thing we need to think about is let's take out that y to the third. Please don't forget that in your final answer. Okay, so don't just drop it. It's hanging out on the outside. And then let's see what we have left. 3y to the fourth minus 15y squared plus 18. Okay, that seems a little bit easier. So what we're going to think about is, can I factor this? So 3 times 18, we've got 54, and then add it to 15. And instead of just having a y and a y, we could actually have y squared. So let's think about that. So if we have, so let's factor this and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so what multiplies to 54 and adds to negative 15? Well, if it's a negative 15, folks, that means that both of them need to be negative. So we've got a negative 6 and a negative 9 and a negative 6. Let's see. Negative 9 times negative 6 is positive 54. Negative 9 plus negative 6 is negative 15. There we go. That looks rockin'. So what am I going to do? I'm going to insert those in. So negative 9y squared and negative 6y squared. I'm going to plug that in, bring down everything else. So 3y to the fourth plus 18. This is a big problem, guys. So I know there's not a lot of room there. So just do the best you can. Okay? All right. So from here, we are going to group. So 3y to the fourth and negative 9y squared. Well, that means I can take out 3y squared. What's left over? We've got a y squared minus 3. And then for the second one, I can take out a negative 6. And I have y squared minus 3. Because when I take out a negative 6, the positive 18, if I take out a negative 6, I have a negative 3 left over. All right, so now what do I have? 3y squared minus 6 times y squared minus 3. And then again, don't forget that y to the third. That y to the third, bring all the way down. And there's my answer. Now, if you're like, ooh, I don't know if I did that right. Well, FOIL it back out and see what we've got. 3y squared times y squared would become 3y to the fourth. And 3y to the fourth times y to the third would become 3y to the seventh. So you can always go backwards and see if you have the same answer. Okay? You can also do u sub, meaning if you had y squared, you can plug in a y for that, and then you can resubstitute it back in at the end. So you can do that also if you're more comfortable with that. Again, same idea. So our coefficient for a is 1, so this is a little bit easier. So 45 and negative 14. Okay, so what multiplies to 45 and adds to negative 14? Well, we've got a 9er and a 5. They both have to be negative because I get a negative 14. So then I have x to the second minus 9 times x to the second minus 5. Okay, that's how I would get x to the fourth. So instead of putting in an x and an x, I put an x squared. Again, if you're not comfortable with that, you can again, substitute in an x squared. You can substitute it in and then resubstitute it back in to get your final answer. Okay, so again, don't be nervous about the x to the fourth and the x squared. Look to see, is there anything you can take out from there? Is there anything you can take out? Is there anything that I can substitute in? How can I FOIL it back out to get my original answer? So use those techniques, try out your homework, and ask questions. Have a great day.